Is it time for, well, is it time up, rather, for Prime Minister Rishi Sunak? It's been a miserable weekend for him, of course. First of all, on Saturday, Sadiq Khan won his third term as London Mayor. I don't know how, I don't know who's voting for him, but take a listen to this.
It's Londoners who inspire me every day to continue our mission of building a fairer, safer and greener London. And in what I hope will be a year of great change, a future Labour government led by Keir Starmer, working with us in City Hall, will mean we can go much further and accomplish so much more.
With the Susan Hall set jaw there tensed in the background. And now, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman has said that Rishi Sunak must change his political course to remain in power, as there is no time to change the Tory leader.
Paul Scully is the Conservative MP for Sutton and Cheam, and I'm delighted to say he joins us now. Good morning, Paul.
Morning to you, Bev.
Hiya.
First of all, there has been some warning shots from people like Andy Street, who lost his race in the West Midlands, Mark Harpo, the Transport Secretary, saying, guys, Conservative Party, do not lurch to the right as a result of what's happened this weekend. But can I put it to you, Paul, that you need to do exactly that, because doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results isn't going to work?
You don't lurch anywhere. I think that's the key thing, Ben. You've got to do it in a thoughtful way and, and really consider your position. I think what we've got to do now is to take a breath, show a bit of humility, realise, get the lessons that we are being told hard and fast and clear by the electorate, that they do want change, and actually come up with a narrative and a vision that shows that we can still be that change despite having been in power for so long. Doesn't necessarily mean a massive jump to the right or any other position. You've got to stay where the majority of the electorate are, and then take them with you on a journey.
Well, the majority of the electorate last week were with Labour councillors, Paul, and also here in London and in Manchester, those two Labour mayors, Andy Burnham and Sadiq Khan, getting in. You wanted to run that ticket in London here, and Susan Hall got her name there first. What are your thoughts now, having watched her be defeated by Khan?
Well, I mean, that's the illustration of actually, if you lurch to the right, you're not going to take people with you. If you run a core vote strategy, you're basically going to end up with your core vote. And in a place like London, there just are not enough people in that core vote to get anywhere near beating someone like Sadiq Khan, who piles on his votes in places like Haringey and Tottenham, those kind of areas, Islington, etc., and Tower Hamlets. We just don't have those numbers there. So you need people who can cross over into, like Boris did when he was mayor, into places where they don't necessarily automatically tribally go for Conservatives. And that's what we've seen. Andy Street did that brilliantly, and he was so close.
Paul, we saw, though, in the outer boroughs, places like Bromley and so on, they did well, the Conservatives did well in the council elections. Do you think if you had run in that mayoral race instead of Susan Hall, and you had clear backing from the party, which many would argue Susan Hall did not have, would you have beaten Sadiq Khan?
I think what we would have got was we'd have got the debate that Londoners deserve, the contest that Londoners deserve, because really, right from the beginning, we were focusing on Susan's Oyster card. We were focusing on, a lot of the finger wagging rather than actually the real issues, housing, crime, transport, and what more we can do. So, yeah, I think I could have held Bexley, Bromley and those kind of people who are furious about Ulez and about Sadiq Khan sort of just ignoring them, and really tackled issues around crime that inner London are really concerned about as well. That's what you've got to say, not conflicting things, but actually speak to those people and their motivators for a vote. That's what I would have done. And hopefully, maybe we'll never know, I may be able to beat him. Who
votes for him, Paul? Because I understand that he gets the ethnic minority vote, majority in London, actually, I think now, isn't it? He gets a lot of migrants' votes. True, or people born of descended from migrant parents. But who else votes for him? Is it the kind of, you mentioned the Islington, is it the champagne socialist dinner party set? Is it your limousine liberals? Is it those people who've done well and live in London but still like to say, oh, I couldn't vote for the Conservatives, and do their virtue signalling as they pass around the focaccia bread? Is it that lot?
I think, yes, absolutely, those sort of people as well. But I think, what we've not been able to do is when you talk about something like Ulez, the expansion into outer London, which meant that people who really can't afford to change their cars very easily, but still rely on them. He was able to portray the fact that Ulez expansion, the sledgehammer to crack a nut, was the only way you can get clean air. And then he was actually saying hardly anyone was affected by it. You can't have it both ways. You can't pay £12.50 for the privilege, in inverted commas, of polluting London. So his logic just doesn't work. But we weren't able to get that across to people that would vote for him, that say, oh, but I want clean air. There are other ways of doing it, tackling pollution hotspots, for example.
Paul, over 1 million people voted for Sadiq Khan, so he must be doing something right. What do you admire about Sadiq Khan? What do people admire about him?
He's a skilled political operator. He knows how to work on different segments of London. As you talked about, various ethnic minorities, there's different demographics. What we're not doing as well as Conservatives, we're not speaking to younger people. So he mops up younger votes, although they tend not to come out as much as older people in elections. Nonetheless, if you're a younger person in London, you tend to be driven towards Sadiq Khan's message, because at the moment, Conservatives just aren't speaking to them, and that's something we've got to change.
Apathy, Paul, voter apathy is going to play a massive role in the election. Do you think the results of these council elections will actually galvanise more people now to go out and vote?
Well, I think it's becoming really stark what the choice is now. Do you want a Conservative government? Do you want a Labour government? And Keir Starmer is no Tony Blair. He's not bringing any sort of inspiration. It's just, I am not the Conservative party. That's all he's really got to offer. So when Rishi Sunak says, we've got a plan, they haven't got a plan, I think he's absolutely right, because what's going to happen if they do come in with a majority government, Labour, then they're not going to be able to fix any of the problems because they don't have that plan. It's going to be really quick when I suspect his supporters will tire of him and then look for change because he's not able to change the country.
OK. Do you let your anger go, Paul Scully? We've been reading in the paper today that it's very bad for you to hold on to your anger. In politics, that must be really difficult.
You know what? This is genuinely not about personal. This is about London. That's what really frustrates me most about the last year, is that we're letting Londoners down. We've gifted Sadiq Khan a third term. But, I'm quite chilled, frankly. I'm off for a dog walk in a minute in Boring Lane.
Brilliant.
Okay.
All right. Well, thanks for giving us your Bank Holiday Monday morning.